Hamid Clear PMP exam with all above target. So Hamid joined us almost 3 weeks ago in the one-to-one program with the goal that he said, I am at beginner level and I want to clear PMP. What do you think? Can we do that? And we started from there and we cleared PMP. Hamid was very skeptical while giving the exam. He was like, I don't think so, I'm gonna clear, and many other things. But I was sure about his preparation. I was sure that Hamid will clear the PMP exam. And here we are with Hamid as a certified PMP. So, Hamid, first of all, congratulations from the entire PMI community on
Absolutely.
becoming certified PMP. So, Hamid, it's your journey.
Sure.
You share it in any way you like.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, actually, great introduction. And I remember like 3 weeks ago, it felt like it's just impossible task, and I felt like it's not going to happen. And just it's kind of by surprise. I watched your first video, sir, and so I was pretty sure that if anybody can help me, it's this guy. And so, we shared emails back and forth, and you rejected me a couple times, and I'm like, all right, so what am I going to do? I was getting worried. A couple times I thought maybe I should, try to study on my own. I can do it. So if anybody else can, but honestly, sitting today, right now, I'm going to tell you that if anybody in the world could have helped me, it's just Mr. Amer. All the
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely, I give you all the credit for it because I'm so humbled and so thank you God that absolutely I was able to find you because many times we know that we can do it, but we need a great mentor or somebody that who can help you with. To be very honest, 90% of the success was because your last day, the message you left me at 1:30 in the morning, well, my time, and then in the morning, I swear to God that I was sitting in my car right outside my examination place, and I'm like, okay, 30 minutes left, and I'm hyperventilating. The nervousness was really at the peak, and I felt like, okay, what am I gonna do? I have short breath, and then we went through your techniques, and then I was skeptical of those techniques, but believe me, they helped me so much. And I walked in there, and I kept telling myself, what's the worst can happen? But in the hindsight, I'm thinking, I've spent all my resources, I've spent all my time, I've spent so much reading the material, and God, I don't really want to go through it again. And especially my last message was, Mr. Amr, that the night before, that I'm done. I'm so sick of this material. I don't want to even study anymore. And so whatever happens, it happens. But then when the exam started, that's a whole different challenge. And so my experience about the test was it's a marathon. I think I heard one of your previous journey from somebody else. Exam question number 12 or 13. I don't exactly recall. I wasn't sure, and I'm sitting there thinking, so I marked that. I thought I'll come back to it, and I will select the option C or whatever that was, and so I'll come back to it. By the time I finish my 60 questions, there's no way to go back. I was like, okay, if either I take more time, but then all the instructions that I got from you, sir, actually, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave it. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to move on. So I opted for the break, and I took my first break. Second section, exactly the same thing happened. There's no time to go back, and the questions are so deeply situational questions. There's no way you have to know the concept. So all the memorizations, all the reading, none of that help. You need to know the last two things that you told me, and that's all you rely on. Servant leader, and then you gotta figure out like the what's the other one was the servant leader.
Agile, agile,
Agile
sorry,
methodology. Yes,
agile mindset.
absolutely, that's what it was. And so I think if all the new aspirants who are watching this or watch this, and then I think the outcome from this journey is I'm going to tell everybody listen to your coach, mentor, the greatest, Mr. Amer, and secondly, just have been a servant leadership and the agile mindset. That's what's going to get you through. Reading is good, and do a lot of mocks because they help you to get through with all the material that in terms of time wise because uh, I was like drained by when I was done 180 questions. I had no idea what I'm doing. So the first thing I did, got back in my car, and I was so emotional at that point. And so you told me to, take your time, relax, and then then we'll talk later. But this is what it was, and it's like okay. So it was a experience of lifetime, and I am so humbled that many of you who are will be watching this, or hopefully they will get the benefit out of this video. Would be is just know your content really inside out because nothing is uh, going to help as far as like you're reading different material things, but you just get your concepts correct, and then and so that's to me that's what was the saving point. But honestly, as when I clicked the okay, 180 questions done, and the thing was that like 2 seconds that was like a lifetime thing. I cannot explain. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'm reading whatever, the reciting whatever. It's like, okay, you know, in a bigger scheme of things, probably not the biggest thing. But then I'm like, as I said, that it is just like I don't want to go back again, read the material, do that, and then second time. But I'm like praying. I think I want to be done, And so thank God. So in the end, success was there, and I was so skeptical even during the exam. I was like, well, you know what? I have no idea. I first of all, I didn't have time. It was not allowing me to think correctly. I didn't have time to root cause analysis. I didn't have time to elimination. There's not much time by the time you. Oh, here's another thing. I'm a slow reader, so and many of you probably have the same thing. By the time you get done with the question, you have to know when you read the option that is the one. So to me, what would say that whatever I think at that situational question, that agile mindset, what would be the servant leader would do, and then even if it was majority of the questions were like hybrid questions, but then even then, I applied the agile the servant leadership methodology, and sure enough, that's what it was.
Okay,
And
okay, that's a great summarization of what you did. So just putting down that time thing regarding the exam, 80, 80, 70.
absolutely, I was right on the dot, and it was as I was getting close, I was watching this, and honestly, had you not told me the night before, had you not told me in the car, even when we did our meditation, and then you told me again that this is what you're gonna do, even though I had watched your previous videos, but at that point it was all blank, nothing was coming to me, and so all I knew that I'm looking at the on the corner of my computer screen, like okay, now I gotta stop at 230 minus 80, so about 170. So I
150,
150
150.
rather, 150 rather. And I was like 152 and I had like three questions left. I think I gotta hurry. So I better make sure to go on to the next. And so sure enough, I made sure that I two, three questions didn't really even contemplate. I just okay, this seems like a better option because of this situation, and I selected it and moved on. And so I know that would, and so that's why the money well spent. And I'm so glad that I got to know Mr. Amir, so because he's the one who saved me at the end of the day. So I'm just like really, I still cannot believe that I'm certified. Yeah,
Okay, okay, Hamid. Now regarding that 80, 80, 70 works, I totally understand that. So one very important thing in your breaks, you did the deep breathing exercise, right?
I sure did. I made sure I stepped out. It fortunately turned out to be a great day here. So I got out of the building. I walked in the parking lot. There's like a freeway not far from that testing center where I'm at. And so I just went there for 10 minutes. I just had the fresh air and absolutely walked around, got my mind. And I actually wasn't going to think about it as I was in the exam. Like I said, okay, whatever happened, the the first 60 questions. I got to purge that memory and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, this is going to be. Uh,
So you,
so
Ayan and Rayan, both are your son. So they are
yes,
saying,
they are actually
yeah,
talking.
yeah. So they are saying that congratulations to dad on
Right,
passing. So
right.
congratulations, Ayan and Rayan, to you.
Right. Oh my gosh. I after the exam, I went to their school and picked them up early. I saw them running from the hallway, and so I asked them, "Hey guys," and so he says, "Dad, did you pass?" I said, "No, I didn't. I didn't pass it." And the look on their face because their rewards were contingent upon my passing the PMP, so they were not going to get the Xbox or whatever Nintendo they wanted.
But
And so
now they can get their Xbox, whatever was committed to them. Now you have to, like, they say,
right, no,
now they, even if you say you don't, they have a recorded video of you, plus I'm gonna put your result card
right,
as a thumbnail, so that is going to be there. Okay,
absolutely,
Ahmed, let's talk about a little bit about your preparation.
yeah.
So all the mocks that I provided you, were they enough for you to for the exam prep or not?
I cannot thank you enough towards the end of those mocks and the material that you provided. I mean, if the new aspirants, if I, from their perspective, there's so much material out there. And believe me, I went through quite a few. What should I read? Should I read Rita? Should I read Andrew? Should I read? I mean, they're good. I don't tell them, I don't say they're not good, but we got to be able to pinpoint what is it that you want to, if you really want to pass, learning point of view, maybe they're really good, but if you really want to pass it, the material Mr. Amir provided, I think that was sufficient. And then just going over and just soaking it in, get in your mindset, get in your brain that it should become your second nature. Even if you're in your sleep, you can answer the question. That's how the exam, because you don't have time in the test. That's the only thing I'm gonna just say, that if you don't know the answer, if the situation you're reading that two people are arguing, what is the outcome? What should you do? And so there are several questions, by the way, about root cause and then definition of done. So
Definitely. So
yeah,
definition of done is completed. Okay,
oh,
let's talk about the exam. You already highlighted that a lot of questions were from hybrid domain. Totally
right.
understand. My first question, the agile which we went through, like agile was only the agile mindset and scrum, or were there any questions from Kanban or XP?
I absolutely didn't see anything from Kanban or XP or um, there's another agile methodology. I did not see anything.
Scrum is enough.
I think Scrum is enough, and then 90% of the questions were all hybrid because the transition from the you know traditional predictive methodology to agile, that's all the questions were. Every single question was pretty much like that. I didn't
Okay.
see anything, even though I was watching a lot of the journey. Well, believe me, what saved me watching your journey videos. Gosh, thank you so much again. You saved so much time the day before as I was doing the mock, and I'm like, okay, at this point, maybe I shouldn't do mock. I should watch those to kind of refresh my memory and have the material, understand it again if there are main points if I'm missing. And so I watched all the journey of quality, resource, and so on and so forth, and the stakeholder. And so, watch those again. I think that's going to be the last day of thing, and then doing the mocks. And the mocks you provided me from wherever you collected the material that or it's yours, it was awesome. I really, really can't thank you enough. That it's so appropriate. And then question style, and it made me feel like that. Oh, it's just a continuation of my mock. There's a strong positive correlation between the exam questions and the questions that you provided. And so I could not be, I'm indebted to you so much. So if you assign me any tasks in the future, I'll be more than happy to work with, because to me, that's the greatest success. Could not have happened without your help at all.
Thank you. Okay, Hamid, in the exam, the most highlighted topic was teams, right?
It was all about resource. Yep. It's all the people domain was
Team,
the biggest.
team. So
Everything was just, in the, even if it's something else, it was still kind of wrapped around with the people domain mindset. So
So all about teams. Okay.
all
And
about
what about stakeholder and communication? Was it highlighted in the exam?
Oh, there were very few, like 4 or 5 questions about communication and or stakeholder, but it's just majority. All the hybrid questions were regarding team and more about like if there's some kind of a clash, and so if there are a few questions about Tuckman letter, and there and and root cause analysis, and servant leadership. I mean, there's so few questions about so basically, even the situation was still kind of hybrid, but the answer could be a servant leader or something around like that. So it
So
was.
any questions also from risk, quality, and procurement? How many questions were there?
I did not see any of the risk
Very
or quality. Yeah, very few. Or yeah, I didn't see any of the managed quality questions or like the risk questions that identify risk or anything about the risk register. There are a few questions about the issue logs and risk register, but I don't see anything that was like deeply
not like
risk
not the majority of the things.
not the
Okay.
majority of questions, mostly about.
What about scope, schedule, cost, and compliance?
Scope, no. Like I said, they were all very general type of agile mindset, and certainly none of those focused pinpoint questions from those certain areas. I well, at least that's what that's what I did. So,
Okay. Okay. What about uh, that? Any formula question?
um, actually, yes, there is one CPI question. That was it. Actually, this one question was you had to calculate like this, your 50 story points or 80 story points, and then you use it in an agile uh, way. But then there was another question, but the answer was not actually you had to calculate anything. It was just in the question that you had to kind of infer the schedule ahead of schedule, behind schedule, and then ahead of your CPI based on the CPI result if you are under budget and over budget. So something like that. But you didn't have to calculate anything.
Okay.
So if
So
there's not enough time to calculate anymore. Yeah.
yeah. So your final advice for the PMP aspirants?
Oh my God, I have so many of them because the lesson learned,
Sure.
my
We have
lesson
time. We have
lesson
time.
learned register is so thick. First of all, the biggest thing, if you really want to just listen to your coach, I think that's the most important thing, number one thing. And secondly, like I said, you have to really get the concept straight. Just repeat it to yourself or repeat to anybody that this is what happened. That was implementation of your concepts. Because all the questions are all situational. And so you got to be able to figure out different scenarios. Where can I apply this uh, concept and how can I just come out of it? And so the choices are so good. And sometimes the choices are so alike, which one do you pick? So you got to make sure that you could, in your head, in a split second, you got to be able to do the root cause analysis and the process of elimination. And because they give you the tool, you can just do like Alt J or Alt W from your keyboard to highlight it or like strike through. Don't have time. If you do all of that, there's no network diagram. By the way, there is something I see that I
Yeah.
absolutely didn't see any network
Mohad
diagram.
basically asking any network. So no network
No,
diagram,
no,
no critical path question.
no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Keep on going with your advices. We are listening.
Yes, absolutely, man. And so there were you didn't have to really do a lot of numerical questions. Most of the time, like I said, you have bigger concepts, the bigger picture. And I think we're going through this phase right now. Even in a lot of companies in the US, they're transitioning from the traditional methodology to agile methodology. So that's why they're probably focusing more questions here towards the hybrid type of things. And so most of maybe the exam question writers are from representing the bigger companies here in the US, or I'm not really so sure, but that's what I was actually, to me, seemed like it because everything was like transitioning from agile, from the predictive to agile. And so
Predictive agile.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atif is asking basically. So Atif, he has already answered the question. Team, the resource domain or the team domain was the most highlighted area in
Absolutely.
the PMP exam.
Right.
Okay. So what else? What else we got?
There is so much in terms of the time management. One thing, and then the second thing I'm recapping is just make sure that you understand the concept. Whatever you do, I kind of like the root cause analysis. Do the root cause analysis of every situation and try to explain, elaborate. Maybe it's with your mentor. He's always there. Even if I call him 3 in the morning, like, hey, I have a question, and so tell me what is the test and evaluation document. If I've asked you a few times questions like that, tell me what is the, couple other questions like,
You cannot, Amit, you cannot share the real question. So you can
no,
share
no,
the
no, I'm
one.
not talking about the real question. I'm talking about like the concepts as I was preparing for my class. No, I'm not sharing all of that. I'm just simply saying the concepts. And whenever I called you a few times that I was able to get, so ask your mentor, your coach, if anything that you're not sure, and then try to do the, I really enjoy watching the YouTube videos that you have put in from batch one and batch two and batch three, and so all of those. Overall, like the mind mapping, how the flow of information going from one stage to the next. How do we go from there here to there? What? Oh, by the way, yeah, as I'm talking, the change request. Gosh, that's very important. How do
Ah,
we? Uh, yeah, the
how many
change request.
questions you had? How
Quite
many
a few
questions?
change requests. Yeah,
Ah, it's a good
and
one.
so
So now we are back with the questions.
right.
Okay. So now we are the back with the question. So Atif is asking, answering the agile question, the key terms are important or the mindset. So Atif, he actually answered the same question already, that agile mindset is very important and the terms in Scrum, not in XP and not in the Lean, not in the Kanban. Scrum terms are critically important. Guys, keep on, if you have question, keep on coming. So we have Hamid here with us for finally, after a long time, we have been trying. Amit, we cleared the exam on Friday, right?
I
So
did, yes, Friday. So I took my
I
Friday
had
out.
a batch. I had a batch, that batch number 13 started on Friday, Saturday, Sunday actually, and we have a batch for 6 days. So 3 days ended today. So after that, I planned to have a session with Hamid.
Right. Oh,
That's Hamid was waiting for this thing. Guys, do like the video and share this video with other people. I can see only two people have liked it, so that other people can also see this video and that can help them. Hamid is sharing gold nuggets here with us. So
absolutely.
Hamid, so basically you live in US, right?
Yes, I live, live in the state that is a neighboring to Illinois, Chicago, and so I think I saw Atif, and he's somewhere in the Illinois area.
That Atif is different Atif.
Atif,
Okay.
but
Yeah, that is Atif Bhatt. He's from
yes,
Batch
yes,
10. He has
yes,
already cleared. Okay,
right. He's from the US. Yeah.
Yeah, Rafi is asking any procurement questions.
No, I did not. I did not see. I like I said. Overall, the questions were like in a very very generalized phase. Like they would like when you ask me about risk area quality, there is nothing much coming from in particular like your like what kind of contract is that, what kind of none of that that I saw that, but most of the general questions, like the agile mindset or the hybrid analogy, and so uh, I didn't see any contract that would be like used that you can actually in the answer choices that I don't recall that. So
Okay. So, Hamid, let's talk about more of our one-to-one program, the one in which you were inducted. So, the program basically worked in this way that you complete a topic, then we sit together, discuss those the confusions you had, then those 50 questions, and all 13 topic this way, topic one, topic two, and
you know,
you are learning at your own pace.
right?
So what do you think about that program? How would you recommend this? What do you think about that? How we can
I
improve
I
it to
100% recommend. Like as you can see, smirk on my face because sometimes I was like, why did I even ask Mr. Amer to help me? Because this guy it would not leave me alone. So to me, the motivational factor was that every time, like if 2 days have gone by and we haven't talked or messaged, like, hey, Hamid, give me the update. And I'm like always worried. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to tell this guy? Should I lie? It's like, hey, sir, I'm done. But then I say, okay, then who am I going to like, who am I joking? So I got to get this thing done. And so it was really good. And so it was like he gave me a small increments, agile way. And so small increments of material, and we covered it fairly quickly. And actually, I should have done this exam like a week ago, but then I was so worried that okay, maybe I need a little more time to study, so I pushed it back to October 15, and so
Yeah, this, but you see, this is normal thing. Like I was pushing with you, and I was pushing other students also. Everyone learns at their own pace because it's not about the money. Okay, the money of the exam is one thing, but other things more of that. Your commitment, you have given so much time, so that becomes a very important thing.
absolutely.
So Fiaz is asking, beside a Scrum, do we need to read anything? Crystal, XP, what do you think about that?
Here's what I'm thinking. You have a large data bank of questions, so but what I didn't see any of those. No
So
crystal
there is
lines.
there is no need. Like I get the same feedback from other certified PMPs. So how do you do that? Okay, someone Amigo is asking any classes during Eastern Standard Time. So Amigo, my one-to-one program, he Hamid is in the Eastern Standard Time. It is custom. It is matched according to the requirement of the students. So we match the time according to that. So you can look into that. Okay. So Hamid, maybe you have the answer to it, but the mock exam, do you recommend? Uh, which mock exam do you recommend? So there are few.
Whatever Mr. Amer has provided me, those are the perfect.
So
Do not
so
go anywhere. So before, I'm sorry, I'm taking the lead here. Sorry, Mr. Amer. I think those are the best of the best, and do those. If you're failing those, do it over and over. That's all there is. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so I will answer that question for you. So there are good mocks in the market. You can go with the Tridib Mocks. That's a good mock, and then you can go with the Andy Ramdayal new mocks. They are good. Prepcast is there, and then we have made a new simulator which Hamid and other people are recommending. So I'm also sharing the link of that. You can also check that. These things are good for you. Okay, Amigo is saying, okay, sounds good. My exam is scheduled. I attended a project management academy, but feel the quality of the that is a different thing. Amigo, I am giving my number here, my WhatsApp here. You can contact me, and we can make sure me and Hamid are you can certified PMP. Okay, Hamid.
Yes, sir.
So talking about the exam question quality. Apart from that, one thing you had, which you were discussing, that the time was very critical. The time, basically,
Absolutely.
that was one of the most important things since you are a slow learner. But
Right.
quality of question, if you rank those questions, how difficult those questions were, what do you think about that?
Oh, well, honestly, it's a relative to what you are actually. If you are really know the answer, if you know the concept really well, you can synthesize or you can extract what you need out of this big jargon that they're providing. By the way, most of the questions are like not more than 3 to 4 lines. Sometimes in the mocks we have like a long, scenario set up, and then there's a question. None of those with 3 or 4 lines. You read those, try to extract that. So understanding that is very, very critical in a short amount of time. So quality wise, they were fairly, I wouldn't say to discourage you that they were really, really challenging. They were challenging enough that you should know the concepts and be able to apply it right away, because that's all you've got. You know, 60, 70 seconds. And in between you got to read that and then read 4 options. If you waste 50 seconds into that, you have only 20 seconds to answer. In your brain, you're trying to say, okay, it can't be, it can't be, it can't be, and so this, you know. But other than
Okay,
that, the exam was not really that bad. It was just, it's doable. Not, it's just a marathon. If you have built up and you don't, give up, then that's the only
then
thing.
so Atif has asked the question, and an interesting question. The same thing that you were explaining. What was happening? You like 20 minutes before exam?
Oh, let me tell you that. Yes, very good question. I think that the night before, by the way, the day before, I was like, okay, it was Thursday, and Friday exam was. I could not find. I could not find the time in the. I'm not a morning person, by the way, but I still kind of get up early, but usually my brain is not all that functional. And usually, if I practice my mock exams early in the morning, I got 50%, 55, never got into 60 or 70 range. However, the time available was 8 a.m. and there was another, like a selection like in the afternoon, which was like end of October. And I was like, no, I cannot continue waiting for this. I gotta get this thing done. And so the long story short, the day before, I'm like telling my family, it's like, I'm just so I feel like in my mind there is something bothering me. I told my family, my wife, I was like, okay, hey, something is wrong. I know I'm worried about this, even though it's nothing, no big deal. I was that anxiety was really high, but 20 minutes before, when I was sitting there, I was like, no, I'm here. All it is, I got to get out of my car, get up on the third floor. That's where the thing was, testing center was. And so I was like, well, there's not much time left. And so I called Mr. Amer, and believe me, those meditation techniques, uh, I wouldn't say they were like the cure for my problem, but they definitely reduced my anxiety level to a level where I can manage it and be able to kind of I felt good enough, and then it was good enough that I could, I got some water, walked around a little bit, and so then you get a little bit of time about like they tell you the tutorial. I didn't watch it because I didn't want to read it, but I went through the whole thing. It gave me like 5 6 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever the time is, to kind of get situated with the testing environment, because here's another anxiety thing. They check your pockets inside out. They want to make sure they just nothing. So while you're going through this whole mind-boggling experience, you're focused on your exam, but they want to make you like check your IDs and things, and just like, okay, what am I going to enter in this room where you're all quiet and everything. So you just take your time, and then as you're going through the tutorial, the how to use the mouse and things, and most of us know it anyway. So I didn't read it, and I was like reciting whatever the prayers or things I could possibly do, and then trying to. And so the minute I ended it, the exam question showed up right in my face. I was like, oh my god, now there's no way out. You gotta get started. There's no. So the real thing is there, and so you gotta start answering your questions. So um, but the
Okay.
anxiety level goes up during the first phase. Second, it's like, oh god, there are three of those after I was done with 60 questions. It's like I can't take it. There are two more of this, and I don't know what's going to happen. And so, but as you read and you just focus on what you when you're doing the, don't think, purge it out, take it out of your mindset. Like the 60 questions are done. There's no way you're going to be able to get back to it. You did whatever you did, and so move on. And I think that's the strategy. But
Okay, Amigo is asking how many hours did you study in a week? So now I recommended something like it was, how many hours it was. So how a day is okay. Some day you study less, some day more. So on average in a week, how many hours did you study?
I honestly, uh, my everybody has a different background and understanding of things. To me, I'd say 2 to 3 hours, pretty much towards the end. It was a
No, no,
little
no.
bit
In
more.
a week, not in a day.
So if I add that, it'd be like 10 to 15 hours,
Hmm. So
or maybe 20 at the most. The weekends, there's no way I can study. There's so many other activities filled, and that's
yeah,
why
we
every
used
time.
to we used to have a long conversation on weekend. Study, study,
Absolutely.
study, and
No, you look, you have Saturday and Sunday, you do mock three, four, five, or whatever, and then nothing is. Couldn't do it because I've got, yeah, my boys. I coach soccer, and so I've got to prepare the team. So I'm a mentor and a coach for a soccer team here. So yeah. So anyways,
okay.
the life
And
was
Amigo
taken.
is asking how many weeks did you study? It was like 3 to 4 weeks, no? Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay.
That's
So
about that.
minimum passing score there is the Mohad, the PMI never tells the minimum passing score. It's about above target, target, or below target or needs improvement. So the exam is more of a qualitative, it's not quantitative, 50%, 60%. Okay, so it has been a great interview. I am loving talking to you. It's just fabulous. It's
Yes,
okay. So if anyone has any question, the final question they can ask. So
absolutely.
I am reaching to the end. So
Yes,
as you know, I'm a big fan of each one, teach one.
right.
So Hamid, we have a group there. You know, we are going to reach 200 PMP tomorrow. One of my student has an exam, so I'm counting on
Oh,
him. So tomorrow we are going to reach 200 PMPs. Okay.
what a great thing to be proud of.
So I want you each one teach one.
Yes,
Each one teach one is the important thing. Whomever, like I put so much material on YouTube,
yes,
and the purpose is this one. Everyone can learn from it. I want the same for you. Okay, Atif is
absolutely.
asking, do you think we have to repeat the course or go to the mocks? That entirely actually depends on where do you stand. If you don't understand what you have read or what you have gone through the material, then of course you need to go to the material. Uh, otherwise, no, then you need to work in that way.
Absolutely.
And each one teach one, as we were talking about. And then the most important thing, celebrate your family with your family, like your kid was saying. Your kid was the first one to comment here, and Ayan and Rayan, now you
Right.
agreed with them. Yeah, you agreed with them to get the PlayStation. So I highly recommend that you get
Yes,
them a PlayStation or whatever you have agreed. Okay,
right, Liam,
Hamid,
absolutely.
it
Thank
has
you
been
so
a
much.
it has been my honor to serve you, to work with you, to
Yes,
work in this way, and finally to complete this journey. Thank you for
indeed.
choosing us. Best of
Absolutely.
luck for future endeavors. Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Awesome.